Hello again. So this is going to be a collective read, and it was an interesting title to work with. And a part of it is because I got some new cards, and it's the Oracle of Ascendance deck. And I was called to get it because I felt like the decks that I have were not very diverse. And I really wanted to have more diversity of spirituality, of culture, just a lot of things. And I know that's going to take a little time to collect with, but I went looking, and I actually got led to a new occult shop that was a bit further away than where I was, and it was a very interesting energy there. And there was something going on. I don't know what exactly, but the it looked like the owners, like husband, wife, and child, and I definitely felt an oppressive energy in there, which was interesting because most of the shop felt nice, except for it was definitely a very like we're not really aware of the ways that we're culturally appropriating a lot of things. And I really looked around and asked around to get an idea of, was this place sensitive to that stuff? And I really didn't get that energy there. It's just intuitive assessment of that there's healing occurring in that place. Um, and it was kind of the energy of like you came here to notice that, to get this deck, and then to alchemize it in your space of like this place is soon to heal. So rather than going into it, and I was talking about this in the Wickedly Divine Lightworker Chronicles, about this is where we'd start with our light work. So instead of being in a place of like, oh, this place is icky or bad, or they're doing bad things and stuff like that, because that increases the focus on that and grows that. Instead, I'm focusing on, I know that if I aligned with it, that healing is about to start happening. And in any case, the deck that I got, like I said, the Oracle of Ascendance is very interesting. It it doesn't have all cultures and always in it, but it's got a lot more than I expected. And I love the vibes on it, and I love that I'm learning about more things and that I didn't know about at all, and more things that I knew about but didn't know about in the ways of the little bits of information in here. And so I was pulling some cards about my inner DM energy, so that I'm reading off the collective of DM energy consensually. And the cards that I got were so interesting. They matched up with two things that happened earlier. One was that as somebody was driving, they came down our street and realized it was a dead end and turned around. And as they went away, an extension cord fell out of the back of their vehicle, and it stayed there. I took a picture, but I'll put it up later. And it looks burnt out. It looks old. And that to me was like, I at the time I was thinking about a combination of the light work that is going on right now and stuff going on for my DM with all the tower situations. And to me, that's like, not only did the plug get pulled, it got completely disconnected from the rest of, the chariot, the momentum. And here it is laying on the ground like a snake on the ground that, an eagle got to and dropped back there. Like, that to me was a very clear image of like, okay, while I'm doing my light work in other places and building more stuff, more goodness in my birthplace of imagination, Spirit is bringing me signs and synchronicities of what's going on with the DM collective, which just affirms for me a place that I got to first, which was that I don't have to go looking for information. Spirit will bring it to me. All things I need will flow to me, right? They do flow to me, not will. They do. They already are. Here's an example of it. The other thing is a lot of this Mercury retrograde energy. Here's the thing that I realized about Mercury retrogrades a while ago. They're reset, rebirth energy. That's beautiful. We want that. And that's as part of the reason I think that spiritually we set up the planets the way that they were, to influence us at the timings that they did. This is reset energy. So start alchemizing when you have a delay getting to work, or when you have your phone signal keeps shutting off and coming back on, or like you have to keep stopping and starting a project, or somebody keeps stopping and starting in the way that they're talking. This is a beautiful opportunity to connect with that reset energy. What places in you do you want to reset? You could start with just the reactiveness of if something seemingly negative happens, alchemize it in your mind. You get a flat tire. Maybe it is that there's some cool experience you're supposed to have with a tow truck person, or with somebody at the shop where you get it fixed, or where I had in fact I had a tire go out, and then I went to go get a new one on the warranty, and the gal that I met that had that got me the new tire, she was totally fun, and we ended up talking for a while and built a small friendship. It was fairly short-lived, but it was fun, and it was nice, and I know that there was some light work in it for both of us, and that was a really cool experience, right? And then the other thing is that I've been seeing a fair amount of things with one of the cards that's in this deck, Atlantis. This is the sigil of Atlantis, right? So I put that in the title. And I'm laughing because the other card, Virgo, and I love the way it's depicted as a little girl too, but she's definitely got a look on her face, like, because Virgo is ruled by Vesta and co-ruled by Mercury, but it's ruled by Vesta, and that's the virgin and the prostitute. And we can see that energy. And if you feel called to watch my Wickedly Divine Lightworker Chronicles, you can see a lot of that Virgo energy in there, of like the light and the dark, and where we find balance in the middle, where there are spaces in between, how far apart they are in different situations and cultural situations. The other thing that we got was Raikou in reverse, and I hope that I'm pronouncing that right. I'm going to go in because the book doesn't provide pronunciations, but I recognize this symbol. I've not dived fully into Reiki, and mostly because there are a lot of other people that have done it, though I'm aware of the principles of it because I have my own ways that I move energy through the body through other practices. And I liked that this was included in there because I know it'll connect with a lot of you, and it will help me learn more. And this symbol specifically is often used when ending something that the teacher or the student has become the teacher, right? Or the student has surpassed their master. And this was, I had asked about what was going on with the DM collective, DM energy within us, which is accessing those without us, right? And so then the last one, fourth one, Triskel, which I very much recognize. I have one of those on there. Or mine's not a Triskel, it's a triqueta. Though the basis of them is very similar. It's concentric circle. It's the spiral cycle. I know a fair amount of you who've been watching me for a while here have heard me talk about that, the spiral cycle. Like when we talk about we're going through cycles, they're not circular. They're not cycles in terms of like just one circle and then it ends. They keep moving up. But in a lot of pagan cultures, they depict it in this way. It's kind of water in a way. Like it's moving, it's recycling, it's up leveling, it's upcycling, it's progressing, it's going back, it's going forward, it's going backwards, forward. Because time is not linear. So we're seeing that, what's going on with the collective. The spiral cycle is going on. And we're seeing that, like, the sigil of Atlantis card, it's got a cool meaning to it. What I'm getting from it is, like, the synchronicities going on, people that's been seeing Titan, Titanic, things like that, people that have been seeing a lot of stuff coming up about the Great Depression, energies like that. These are the same energies that have been going on in these spiral cycles, both big and small. Many of you are seeing this happen in your personal lives, and then you're seeing it go on with your twin flames in terms of their interactions with third parties and learning their karma. And this often happens. These circles are not always like smooshed together, but they're always interacting with each other. They're going on. And so you can see how in the wider collective this stuff is happening, and in the smaller, like, so in the macro and the micro, for you personally, you within you, those directly around you, and in the wider world, in your wider country, and in the world, and in the universe. These cycles are like, to me, it's a very obvious thing of like, well, duh. They're doing the spiral cycles. The other thing about that too is that it's the Trinity. It's the maiden, mother, crone, or if you're in Abrahamic religions, it's more masculine. It could be what is it? Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Yeah, or Mary, Jesus, and God. Somebody can correct me on that if you would like to. But we see this aspect of Trinity in a lot of different spiritual paths, both ancient and new, and especially in the cultures, Celtic cultures, it's feminine, and so that, I mean, that to me makes sense. We've had a lot of feminine aspects going on, especially as 2020 was two twos, the High Priestess, that did bring in the masculine energy, though we're healing a lot of that, of toxic femininity and toxic masculinity, and so when asking what's going on with, with the DM collective within us and around us, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the spiral cycle and the healing of the sacred feminine, which means also healing of the sacred masculine, divine feminine, divine masculine. We're seeing that the students are becoming the teachers. I know many of you who've been watching me and others for a while are starting to get on and do your own channels. You're starting to get out of just thinking about your connection. You're starting to heal and get away from the social anxieties that keep you from meeting other people, even though Spirit is telling you, putting signs out there, go talk to people, go. And you guys are getting out there speaking about things, helping to rewire things too, and those of you those of you that may not be doing your channels, but you share those of us who are talking, especially about absurdities like I like to talk about, you're helping that too. You're helping to do that light work. We've got the Virgo energy in there. Again, divine feminine energy. High Priestess is Virgo, they say. It's some related with Taurus also, though its primary association is Virgo. And then we've got the sigil of Atlantis. So we've got this big titanic energy going on. It's the those that felt they were too big to fail, so they didn't need to. Oh, what is time? That was about that parable. I know there was also one with the scorpion and the frog, though. With the grasshopper and the ant, effectively the ant spent its time preparing for the winter, for the harvest, and the grasshopper did not. And it was arrogant, like, I got time, why do I need to do that? And when winter came around, the ant was all set up, and the grasshopper was not. And then the grasshopper came crawling over to the ant wanting help. And depending on what vibration you're in, denotes how that parable ends. I'm also feeling called to one that I meant to do a reading about, but maybe it was meant for right now, is there was a children's story. I believe it was Little Red Hen. But I might have wrong. And what I'm thinking about is, in the story, there was a whole bunch of barnyard animals. One of them was Little Red Hen, who was kind of a mother sort. She's like, we need to plant the seed. We need to till the soil and plant the seeds. And everyone's like, we don't want to. We want to play. And she's like, okay. And she goes and does the work while they go and play. Then it's like, okay, everybody, we need to go and harvest the wheat. We need to get all the stuff and mill it down. And everybody's like, I don't know. You didn't make them, and you didn't help me clean up when it was done. No, you don't get any. This stuff is for me. And I look, because I feel two things about that feel relevant for this reading. One is that that's actually a sign of very healthy boundaries. She did not feel attached to them not getting it. And clearly they had multiple opportunities to provide for themselves to be able to. And she wasn't mean, like, no, I'm not going to share with you. It was very simply, no, like, if you want some next time, help me out. And that's an appropriate way to be, and not be overgiving of yourself. Though there is also the other side of me that goes, you know what, though, when we're doing the light work to manifest a new world, how could we rethink that? Because these parables have trained us. They're part of our conditioning. So if we rethink it, like, how could the story go a little bit differently? Like, what if instead of it ending at Little Red Hen just said, no, you can't have any? What if she says, you know what? I have left these ingredients. I have leftover ingredients over here. And, so long as you guys clean up after yourselves, you may make your own whatever you want out of the leftover ingredients. And if you want, I might even teach you how to do some of this. And then I would appreciate it if you help me plant the seeds next time. And in fact, I'm just going to have faith that you will. Take out the whole, unless you help me, or if you don't do it, and simply give Little Red Hen that personal touch of, she's going to be a master manifester, and trust that they are going to help, because they smelled how wonderful it was, and they appreciated that although she didn't drop her boundaries and share her stuff with them, that she did offer the leftover resources that she could have used them if she didn't need them, and offered to teach them how to do those sort of things so that they now have a positive association in there, because in the old part of the thing, that energy. Now, what I wanted to say from the syncs from the beginning, the extension cord, the cards, having some reset energy in there, and depending on where you are in your ability to navigate into higher vibrations away from victim consciousness, depends on the amount that you'll find yourself in distortions and in the funhouse mirrors. Because what I'm getting a sense of, and what I think I'm probably going to talk a little more about, I don't know, I'm still a little bit worried about it, is the Atlantean type energy that's been coming up, the Titanic energy, and kind of a twofold of the different timelines of what's coming up. I'm going to spend more time manifesting and growing ahead of the manifestation, and this place that I kind of like what a lot of the Hopi elders and I believe the Oglala Sioux elders, I'll have to double check that, some of their prophecies talked about, where we had like fifth generation where it would be all people and there would be healing and we would not have this oppression going on with all people. And it feels like that, at least for me, in terms of the twin flame journey, that I'm aligned with those who are doing that sort of light work, and those who continue to follow me, are also going to be on that path of light work. So many of these readings, but if you want to do it, it's fine. No judgment there, though. My readings are going to be more focused on what energy are we shifting, what triggers are we looking at, where can we do our light work in here and in the world in ways that bring about the world that we want to have. Because being in this cosmic energy, being able to access and channel with other beings that we normally wouldn't be able to, like that sort of stuff feels like once in a lifetime sort of stuff. And I'm going to embrace those absurdities. So I hope you will embrace them with me and see where it goes, because it feels like this thing is a whole new world, and we don't know exactly what kind of beautiful things might come up, but it might be worth checking out. All right, y'all.